Hi all, so this is lesson 3. Not much to go over on this one, but it's more about the sort of aspects where you can sort of maybe offer some advice as you're sort of going on, and some instruction on how to sort of avoid any treatments from or any conditions, sorry, sort of worsening. So the first thing to maybe look into and research is all about UVA and UVB rays. Okay, so basically what we get from ultraviolet light. Okay, so the UVA really is something that you just need to know. So UVA penetrates the skin a lot deeper and is the main culprit of photoaging. So that's what will sort of accelerate our wrinkling, the leathering effect that you can get from if someone goes in the sun quite a lot. Okay, so that's the part that will damage your skin and penetrate deeply. Okay, the UVB is what we need to be careful of, because these rays will cause carcinomas or melanoma. So these are the cancerous rays. Okay, these are the ones that do the biggest amount of damage. So what I'd like you to do is maybe a little bit of research. So on the PowerPoint, which is on Moodle, there'll be another page after this which will explain all about sun protection factor and how to sort of calculate that. So that's something I'd like you to sort of have a go at and have a little look at, just to sort of understand how we can protect our skin from UVA and UVB light. So that's something that maybe you could explain to your clients, explain the importance of products that have got UVA and UVB sun protection in them, and sort of go from there. So that's just something that I'd like you to look into a little bit more, and you just need to understand the difference. So UVA is what creates our photoaging, so our wrinkles, etc. A UVB is the cancerous, the one that ultraviolet light, which will create cancerous carcinomas and melanoma. Okay, the next thing is something that I need to sort of talk to you about. Basically, there is something called a Fitzpatrick classification system. It was designed by and founded by Dr. Fitzpatrick, so it's something you can look into a little bit more. But it's all really about how photosensitivity sort of works, so how different skin types react to ultraviolet light and how they're affected. So we'll talk about how the skin will burn, how it will react to overexposure of sun, and it will tell you the different types of skin which can be affected. Okay, so there's a bit in your work pack which you need to fill out, and there is basically this table here. Okay, so I hope you can see that on here. I hope so anyway. Basically, so we've got type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, type 5 and type 6. So I'm not going to go over this all now, but basically type 1 is your very pale or ruddy skin which has numerous freckles on it. So if you think about this sort of skin type, anyone who's got red hair, really fair eyelashes, tend to have this skin type. Now this skin type will always burn, very rarely will it tan. If you are exposed to too much sun exposure, then you will sunburn. Blisters will form if you've not got any protection on, and they are a high risk for skin cancer. Okay, so if you get someone with this skin type, in your aftercare advice, you may want to make sure that you advise that they use sun protection because of this reason. Okay, and you can sort of refer them to this table and let them know all about that. Okay, type 2 is your pale or light toned skin, so someone like me, some freckles mostly on the face, some on my shoulders and arms as well. and this is very true, I usually burn. I do lightly tan. I can tan quite well actually, but I will always burn, and I will get quite a lot of redness if I don't protect my skin. I can sometimes get blisters, which is really bad. So there's an increased risk for skin cancer. Type 3 is cream to olive. Sometimes this skin tone will burn. It will tend to go a little bit more pinky, sore than anything. So it would be mild sort of sunburn with unprotection. And they are at moderate risk for skin cancer. So you kind of get the gist. The next is light brown skin tone. They seldom burn, so very rarely burn, easily tans, and they're low risk for skin cancer. Type 5 is brown. Rarely burns, darkly tans, seldom develops skin cancer. And type 6 is your very dark brown. Okay, and this skin type never burns and it rarely develops skin cancer. Okay, so you can explain and you can give advice on the amount of sun protection that's required. I think every skin type needs to have some kind of skin protection. Okay, so it needs sun protection definitely. So it depends on how much advice you give to that client, depending on their skin type, according to the Fitzpatrick classification system. So that's something for you to research and look into a little bit more as well. Okay, one really important thing that we need to talk about with some skin conditions, some disfigurements, some people may develop, and you may come across people with something called body dysmorphia disorder. Basically, people with body dysmorphia are excessively worried about a part of their body which they perceive to have a defect. Obviously that person may have a defect, so you can kind of understand, but some people have this and they don't really have that much sort of to worry about. And I'm not scared to say that I have actually been diagnosed in the past with body dysmorphia disorder, but I have had acne, and I got really low, I think particularly after I'd had my son. My body changed so much, and I didn't actually realise how worried I was about my appearance, really, because I'm not really that sort of way inclined, but it did really affect me quite a lot. So basically someone with body dysmorphia would believe that these defects are so bad, despite any reassurance about their appearance. So no matter what you say, they'll still think there's something wrong with them. So any area of the body may be involved in body dysmorphia, but normally it's the face, which is most common because that's mainly on view and it can't always be covered. So a lot of people do worry about that. So some of the key things to look out for, which may distinguish that someone has body dysmorphia, and it doesn't mean they have it if you do any of these things, but if you do most of these things all the time, it's worth maybe going to your GP to sort of speak to them. But first thing would be that they wear excessive amounts of makeup or heavy clothing to hide their perceived defect. They may repeatedly look in the mirror and seek reassurance about their appearance. They frequently touch or measure the perceived defect. Okay, so I used to pick all my hair out. I used to worry about my hair. I used to think my hair's horrible, my teeth are horrible, my skin's horrible. I used to pick at it. So constantly used to just repeatedly pick at my skin and pluck my hair and eyebrows out. Okay, all my eyelashes, are often bald, and that all stemmed from me having this. So it's something that can really affect and make you look worse, actually. They may feel quite anxious when they're around other people. They may go to the GP a lot and seek medical treatment for the perceived defect, even though there's nothing that needs to be done. And they may diet or exercise excessively as well. So this is something just to be aware of, because you may need to be prepared that some people may consistently put themselves down, they may consistently touch the area you're working on because they feel uncomfortable, and you just have to have empathy for them and just sort of explain to them that you're there to sort of help them, and you know, anything you can do, and just be there to listen to them. So anyone with body dysmorphia, make sure you treat them with care, discretion and understanding. Okay, so that's really quite important. And that's really it for lesson 3. So lesson 3 is quite an easy, simple one. Nothing to really sort of go by. It's really to help you with the process of consultation and the aftercare advice that you'd give. Okay, so that's the main bulk of lesson 3. There is another section I'm going to go over, but it's something that I'd like you to sort of read up about. I'm just going to touch upon it really, and that's this next page. Okay, so this is more about the techniques, and I don't think you'll be able to see this very clearly through my recording. So it's all about the process of what you're going to be doing, and it gives you a step-by-step on what the condition or camouflage area is, the products that you need to use or advised to use, the tools that you're advised to use, and the application technique on how you'd apply it. At the top of the table it will say what you need to sort of do in preparation. So obviously it says that you need to prepare the area to industry standards, carry out your consultation techniques, record questions and answers on the record card. You need to wash your hands, and you need to prepare your client and cleanse and tone the camouflaged area, making sure everyone's comfortable and ready. And then what I've done is I'll split it up. So I've got erythema. Okay, for example, you would need green colour corrector, you'd need your skin colour match colour, and then the tools, you've got the brush, you've got fingers, you've got the sponge, you've got velour puff. Okay, I tend to use all of them, so that's why I've put them all in there. Okay, and then I've got the application technique. So cleanse and tone area, mix a little bit of green cream colour corrector with the skin tone. Apply cream with brush, finger or sponge, powder over the top. It says green powder here, but just translucent powder for us because we don't have the green powder in our kits. And then you would then apply your pure normal skin colour match cream with a sponge over the top, and then set with powder using a velour puff as your last step. Okay, so it gives you a few little tips there. So we've got erythema on this page, hypopigmentation and hyperpigmentation on the first sort of table, so that will give you an idea there. And then on the back you've got your tattoo, and this one you've got lots of different tips on the colour correction, what you'd use for different colours of the tattoo. That's something for you to experiment with, and something for you to play around with. I tend to find, regardless of what the tattoo colour is, with the Veil Cover Cream kit, the rose and the green tend to do a lot of rebalancing. They tend to do whatever I need it to do for every colour. So it's something maybe for you to look into and have a look at, and have a little experiment with. And then the application technique is a little bit more detailed for the tattoo as well. Okay, so have a little look at those. They give you some ideas of the sort of tattoo, the sort of range that you can cover in your tattoos, and they are the sort of 4 things I'd like you to maybe have a go at practicing your techniques with, taking your before and after pictures, doing your consultation with whoever you're doing it on, and really practicing these techniques, taking the photos, sending me some examples of the work that you've been carrying out. so that would be really good. And that's what we do in the lesson really. So I would do each of these PowerPoints that I've done, and then I'll talk you through how to do the actual practical. So as I said, there are videos on my YouTube channel along with these tutorials here on just the PowerPoints. Watch the PowerPoints first, make as many notes as you possibly can, and look at the PowerPoint as well on Moodle. Really get your knowledge up and running before you have an attempt at practicing these techniques. Fully understand it and then have a go at the practical. Okay, enjoy. Send me images and videos of you actually doing these techniques. I'll be most grateful if you do, and just try and enjoy it. Think that you're doing a good thing, you're learning a skill which you will definitely have to develop in the industry that you're working in. Even if you're just doing glam and bridal makeup, okay, it is something you will have to do at some point. So it's definitely something for you to work on, practice and perfect. Many thanks, enjoy practicing, and the next video I'll do is all about the paperwork that you need to fill in as well. Okay, many thanks.